Hey, what's up, everybody? It's SuperHappyJim here. I got another Steam Deck optimization video for you. This time, the entire Kingdom Hearts collection that is now out on Steam and overall runs really well on Steam Deck. I am not going to bury the lead too much here, or at least try my best. Most of these games, you don't really need to mess with settings at all. The only game that even really has settings is Kingdom Hearts 3. Most of these games run really great right out of the box with little to no tinkering, but I still have a decent amount to say. So stick around in this video because I have some tips that I think are good for every game. Since I imagine most people are here for the Kingdom Hearts 3 settings, though, I will get to that right away. A couple things I would do for every game is setting the display to full screen. Some of the games, for some reason, start compressed vertically. I think what's happening is that it's trying to add black bars for the 16 by 10 resolution and then squishing the image into a 16 by 9 resolution anyway. So if you set it to full screen, it won't do that. And then for the gamepad, I like setting button icons to type 2. I grew up playing these on PlayStation, and it's just weird for me to see the game telling me to press Y or B. So for the actual Kingdom Hearts 3 settings, we're going to start in display, and you're going to set your display resolution for 1152 by 720. This game basically locks to 30 frames per second when you first start it up, but if you just decrease the resolution a tiny bit, it gives you a lot more frame rate. The game also starts you at 50% resolution scale, which is pretty rough. So set that to 100. Since we're just dropping the resolution here. Keep the frame rate at 60. On the Steam Deck OLED, HDR is not working right now, which is unfortunate. Hopefully that is working at some point. For the graphics settings, it won't let you change anything unless you go to the custom preset, so go there. The textures we're going to set at high. Normally I would do max, but I was noticing a little bit of a difference in frame rate from that one. We're going to leave shadows at medium, LOD on, character LOD medium, foliage LOD at medium. Anti-aliasing does FXAA and TXAA, and I think it looks pretty bad. I would just set it to TXAA. I think the FXAA, this is fun to say, I think the FXAA surprisingly adds a lot of jagged lines, or at least doesn't do a good job of getting rid of them. So just doing TXAA gives you a very good image resolve. I like having motion blur on for this game. I think just because it's kind of fast-paced and really flashy. Ambient occlusion, gonna set this to low. It's a bit of a taxing setting. Capsule shadows medium. Screen space reflections, gonna put that on low. Volumetric clouds, leave that on medium. Fog will set to low. Bloom we'll put on low. And leave lens flare on. And we'll leave DOF at medium. Then in your side panel here, you're going to want to set your frame rate to 40. I have to leave mine unlocked right now since I'm using a capture card, and it doesn't like anything except 30 and 60. And then you're going to want to put FSR on or Pixel on to make up for the slightly less resolution. I actually think either one looks really nice. I sometimes hate the sharpness that FSR adds, even at sharpness at 0. So I kind of am going back and forth between FSR and Pixel. I think either one looks really good. And yeah, this game looks really great. This is one of the heavier settings in the game. I've kind of noticed that the game will drop some frames in traversal, kind of no matter what. You'll get the occasional stutter, but with these settings, I've been doing a locked 40 frames per second and staying above it really well. Moving on over to Kingdom Hearts 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue. Thanks for that. This is kind of a weird one. As far as I can tell, it runs on a similar engine, has a similar look to Kingdom Hearts 3, but it runs better and doesn't give you any graphics options. This is frustrating to me, as I mentioned, with the FXAA in Kingdom Hearts 3 looks pretty bad to my eye. And I see it here too, but there's no way to turn it off. In the config menu, there are just no options for graphic settings, which is pretty annoying. Good thing, at least, is that this runs better than Kingdom Hearts 3. I would still recommend dropping the resolution to 1152 by 720 and then using FSR or Pixel to sharpen the image a touch. The game will still dip here and there, but mostly runs at 60. You can run it at the full resolution, and it will still mostly run at 60, just not as consistent. I just want to take a sec to talk about the overall quality of the ports. I think they are pretty good in general. I give them some props over the original games, like being able to skip cutscenes where you otherwise were not able to, but they certainly could have done a lot more as well. The whole collection is $100 on Steam, but it does have an introductory sale of $70. Paying $70 for every mainline Kingdom Hearts game seems like a pretty good deal to me, with the ports being at the quality that they are. Would have been nice to be able to run these games in 16 by 10 and fill up the whole resolution, or if they supported ultra-wide, speaking outside of the Steam Deck. They do support 120 frames per second, which might sound nice for OLED users, being able to, get up to 90 frames, but there have definitely been some issues with that I've seen online, so I would just stick to 60. The cutscenes for all of the games haven't been redone or anything. It looks like, to my eye, that they've just been upscaled a bit, which works fine for Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2. I've been playing Kingdom Hearts 2 on my big 4K TV, running off my PC, not the Steam Deck, and all the cutscenes look great to me. I will say, though, with the Kingdom Hearts games that were made for, DS and Game Boy Advance, those cutscenes are pretty rough. They were already very compressed just to fit onto those devices, respectively, in the first place, and then upscaling them to 1080 or whatever they did looks pretty rough. Not just because you can see the upscaling in general, but you can see the compression and then the upscaler fighting with that compression. It just looks really muddy at times, even on the Steam Deck's 800p screen. Maybe they don't have the original cutscenes uncompressed anymore on a hard drive somewhere, fair enough, but I wish they would have at least done just like a nearest neighbor upscale instead of whatever filtering they have going on. I should mention as well that 358 over 2 days and Recoded are just all of the cutscenes from those games all put together. It's not actually a remake or a remaster, which is unfortunate. For the controls for these games, it's been a while since I played Kingdom Hearts 3, and I've really been enjoying it a lot more this time around on the Steam Deck, and I think there's a few factors for that. I didn't know that they actually updated the game in a few ways. I know that they just rebalanced a little bit of things here and there, but I think one of the big reasons I'm enjoying it is the way I configured the back paddles of the Steam Deck. I made L4 the B button for jump, I put A on R4 for attack, and I actually made this a turbo button. So instead of spamming A over and over and over and over in every fight, I just hold down that back button, and maybe that's cheating a little bit. Maybe it makes the game a touch easier in certain ways or touch harder in others. But I think I just find myself playing a lot more where I'm not just constantly smacking my thumb into the face buttons. To each their own. I imagine some people would hate that, but I've really been enjoying it. On L5, I put the Y button, which, is how you interact with a lot of the world and saves, and I made this a turbo button as well. That way, when I'm just approaching a chest, I can hold down L5, and as soon as I get to it, I just immediately enter that little cutscene and open it. And then if I'm approaching a save, same thing, I'll just hold down L5 as I'm walking up to the save, and then I just enter the menu, like on the first frame or whatever. Feels nice. And then I put X on R5, basically just because it was the last face button and the last back button. And I've gotten used to using that as the sort of dash and roll. I think an added bonus of just back paddles in general, of course, is that it allows you to keep your thumbs on the thumbsticks longer. And since Kingdom Hearts 3 is just like really flashy in its presentation, being able to keep my thumb on the right stick almost at all times, it just gives me a better view of the action of what's going on. Sometimes I think the design language maybe of combat can get a little muddy at times in this game. So just being able to constantly be in control of the camera helps me keep a better eye on action. And then also this game I feel like is a bit cinematic in its flashiness as well, and it just allows me to pick like a nice camera angle. But yeah, just that to say that I've really been enjoying Kingdom Hearts 3 on the Steam Deck. I think it is a lot of fun. It looks really good, and I hope that they get HDR working at some point because I think that will look amazing on the OLED. Overall, I would say that these are really nice ports. For $70 for essentially every mainline Kingdom Hearts game, I think that's worth it. $100 is getting a little pricey, though, when it's out of a sale. It will be on sale up until the end of the Steam Summer Sale, which is great. And I think $100 for every mainline Kingdom Hearts game is maybe a little pricey, but $70 feels pretty fair from my eyes for the quality of these ports. I think they could have done a lot more, but I think the improvements they did make are very welcome. But that'll do it. Appreciate you. Feel free to like the video if you did like it. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.